hating, ducking, clout chasing. How many times have we heard these terms? And how many times has it been associated with boxing, our beloved sport? And how many have contributed to these things being spread throughout the sport? Welcome to Loon, Coon, and Buffoonery, Part 14, an editorial. When we look around the landscape of boxing today, we're seeing a lot of things that have come into being a part of the sport that once wasn't there as prominent as we see now. We see a lot of people who are exercising the ability to use social media to their advantages, but not in a positive sense for the sport. And the announcers, journalists, and sportcasters, they haven't helped in this process at all. Because some of them, even former participants in the sport, have allowed themselves to be, for the lack of a better term, prostituted out for certain agendas to fly. For an example, in boxing recently, Keith Thurman has surfaced again, and he's claiming that he wants to fight again. But he was running interference in one of the biggest potential fights in boxing currently, because Errol Spence Jr. was looking to unify his titles against WBO champion Terrence Bud Crawford for undisputed. And Thurman was allowing himself to be used to interfere with that. The negotiations for the fight, the considerations for the fight. And though he's a former WBA welterweight champion and WBC welterweight champion, he has been so inactive. But here he comes, putting himself in the midst of things. Thank goodness we're getting the fight between Spence and Crawford this coming July 29th. But when you look at someone who does those kind of things and you wonder, like, where is that coming from? You spend so much time out of the ring. And I had a chance to go back and check it out. His inactivity goes back like this. His last fight was against Mario Barrios in 2022. The fight prior to that was Manny Pacquiao in 2019. Earlier, 2019, Josecito Lopez, and then before that, Danny Garcia in 2017. Now, why would someone want to see him in against an active fighter like Spence, when Spence, the only thing that has sidelined him was a couple of injuries due to his detached retina, and then also he had his car accident. But prior to that, he was still fighting. Thurman had a chance to face Spence years ago, and he didn't want to do it. So he has to get back in line. People were suggesting that he fight Jaron Boots Ennis, the young upstart and the fighter that looks like the future of the division. Thurman comes back with he needs over $10 million to fight someone like that. Who would throw money away like that? But anyway, this is not about Keith Thurman. I just wanted to use his name as an example for what the subject is here. Now, you can go more recently, and people are feeling like Devin Haney, the current undisputed lightweight champion, is ducking Shakur Stevenson. Now, understandably, Shakur is a young talent, someone that is that guy to watch. But he was a unified champion at junior lightweight and decided in his last fight at that division to not make weight and give up his titles on the scale. Now, what that did was that reduced his bargaining leverage when he moved on up after his last bout against Roberson Consequao at junior lightweight. So he brought no hardware to be considered at lightweight. Now, Devin Haney, who has gone through all sorts of difficulties to obtain the supremacy at that weight class of being the undisputed champion, taking less money, signing up with a different promotional group, taking fights in an opponent's backyard with a deal signed for if there be a rematch, he has to fight that one there too. All of these things just so he could have the opportunity to become undisputed. And he persevered. He bet on himself. He even endured the fact that they were trying to keep half of his training camp partners from his fight while he was overseas. But he didn't stray away from the game plan. And Shakur all of a sudden thinks that someone should just hand him an opportunity. You gave up your titles on the scale, young man. You could have vacated the titles and took a fight. So now someone's ducking you? That's bad for business. And this whole thing about ducking to begin with. Fighters make deals, as proven recently by Earl Spence Jr. and Terrence Bud Crawford. These two champions spoke behind the scenes, not in public, not in front of social media, and they hashed out a deal that they found agreeable by both parties, and now we're getting the fight. You can lead by example, but you don't have to set a show. And we're seeing so much of this because social media is playing out in front of our daily lives, but it's not our daily lives, though some make it their daily lives. And we've got to get better than that. We've got to get back to the essence of what is the reason that we love this sport. The challenge, the machismo, the men who go through the fire and train themselves, and they come out here and they perform, and they should be compensated for it properly. But how many times have we seen certain individuals reap the rewards of huge purses fighting nobody? They can be called the face of boxing, but they've fought no one that you want to see them in the ring with. This has happened all too frequently over the past few years, and it has tainted the sport. But yet and still, the media cannot turn its head and then come around with a different side of a cheek and say, oh, well, this guy really isn't fighting anybody. You built this. Media, you've helped create this foolishness. And so when we talk about it and we put it out there, just as what I was saying about Mr. Stevenson, people get angry and they say, oh, you're hating. Hating. So when did having constructive criticism become hate? Really? Really? The fact that I may not support the foolishness that we see, the fact that I can speak on it and give critique of it and say, hey, there's better ways to handle things. That's not hate. But see, in the society that has been dumbed down and ultra simplified by people not wanting to be accountable, held to the stone for who they are, what they do, how they represent. That's what this is about. And when you see someone like Shakur Stevenson and the way he tried to come at Devin Haney about a possible fight, Haney is the man that has the world in his hand right now. And he earned that. I think it's time for Shakur to build back up and go out there and take on other opponents. We talked about Lomachenko. Lomachenko has displaced him in his ratings. In his ratings. So why not call out that cash cow? But see, again, when you're playing up through the media, it's about popularity contests. If I can get so many people to like my tweets and like my posts and like what I'm saying and doing, that shows the true sentiment about who people feel that they will support. No, it doesn't. Because people will turn on you, just as they're starting to do certain other individuals in the sport, because they're not stepping up and fighting the type of opposition that makes people spend that dollar, buy that ticket, buy that event. So here we are currently, and there are so many fighters out here who want to get things done. We have former champions that are issuing challenges, say they want to fight multiple times in a year, and people don't want to step up and face them. One, because of fear. The other, because they are a part of an agenda of isolation. Yeah, it exists today in boxing, and they fool the masses. When you turn down multiple meals and you can't get that anywhere else, what else is it? Think about it. But this is what we see on a day in and day out basis. And these familiar faces that are on this collage here have all at one point in time contributed to what I'm talking about. And it's disgraceful, because some of them have participated in the sport, actually laid their lives on the line. But they are now a part of a greater agenda of just keeping the masses dummied down. And I don't like it. So, with all of this being said, hating, ducking, clout chasing, it's not real. Those are just terms that people like to throw about. But the one that I like to use that will stand the test of time: accountability. Yeah. This is Stormy B Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know your thoughts on this editorial. We need to shake boxing up, bring it back into the graces. These fighters, there's nothing wrong with social media if you're using it the correct way. But the way you're currently doing it is destroying the essence, the value of the sport. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.